On the evening of August 26, 2023, 25-year-old Mitchel Dang stood in front of her camera and showed viewers the outfit she had chosen for a night in downtown Atlanta, something casual and comfortable enough to spend several hours dancing. Mitchel appeared excited. Before ending the recording, she explained exactly what she planned to do. She was going to dance her heart away. 4 mornings later, an employee inside a parking garage across from the Fulton County Courthouse noticed an overpowering smell near the elevator. He initially suspected that an animal had died somewhere inside the building. As he moved closer to a stairwell, however, it became clear that the smell was coming from beneath the steps. Something had been forced deep into the narrow space and partially covered. The employee called the police. What officers discovered would connect Mitchel's final recording to a stranger captured on cameras throughout downtown Atlanta. But the investigation did not begin with the man on the cameras. It began with a family waiting for Mitchel to come home.
Hey guys, so I'm here with Maggie. It's her last day of 9th grade and we passed with flying great. We did good. She did
not
good.
Flying colors. Yeah. Get it right.
No, but
Okay.
yeah.
We're
But she
fine.
did great. And we got Wingstop. It's her first time.
That's
the
loud.
Mitchel Dang lived in Norcross, Georgia, with her parents and her 2 sisters, Mary and Maggie. Her parents had moved to the United States from Vietnam after the war, building a new life around a family that remained closely connected. As the 3 daughters grew older, Mitchel was the middle sister. Maggie remembered her as a role model and someone she could approach for advice, particularly about relationships and the ordinary complications of growing up.
Hi guys. So I'm going to attempt to vlog today. Oh, I just went the wrong way. Actually, I'm just gonna go this way. I brought my camera and everything. I feel like today could be like a good day to vlog. So the things I'm gonna try to overcome is my fear of vlogging in public spaces. Yeah, so let's just do this together.
Mitchel also enjoyed recording parts of her life. Her videos included personal updates, preparations for nights out, and moments that might otherwise have passed without being preserved. Saturday, August 26th, began without any indication that it would become significant. The Dang family ate dinner together. Afterward, Mitchel asked her mother whether she could travel into downtown Atlanta to meet friends and attend an Alley Cat event at Club Future in underground Atlanta. The event was built around house and techno music, exactly the kind of environment where Mitchel could spend the evening dancing. Before leaving, she recorded the outfit video that would become the final known footage she created at home. Mitchel traveled into Atlanta and attended the event. She did not return to Norcross that night. Her family was not immediately alarmed. Mitchel was 25 years old, and although she lived at home, it was reasonable to believe that she might have stayed with friends after leaving the venue. They gave her space and expected that she would eventually walk back through the door. Sunday passed. Then Monday arrived, and Mitchel still had not come home. Calls and messages received no response. The explanation that had initially seemed ordinary was becoming increasingly difficult to accept. Somewhere between the music venue and the journey home, Mitchel had disappeared. At approximately 7 o'clock on the morning of Wednesday, August 30th, an employee began cleaning inside a parking garage on Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. The structure stood in the center of downtown Atlanta, close to underground Atlanta's music venues, and directly across from the Fulton County Courthouse. Near the elevator, the employee noticed a powerful smell. His first thought was that a rat or another animal had died somewhere inside the building. He continued working, but the smell became stronger as he approached a stairwell on level 1A. When he looked beneath the steps, he saw something hidden inside the narrow space. The employee kept his distance and contacted the authorities. Atlanta police officers arrived to investigate what had initially been reported as a person down call. Beneath the staircase, they found the body of a small woman who had been pushed far enough into the space that she would not have been immediately visible to someone walking past. Part of her head had been covered with newspaper, her clothing was missing, and the condition of the scene indicated that she had been there for some time. This was not someone who had simply collapsed inside the garage. Her position, the attempt to cover her and the removal of her belongings all suggested deliberate concealment. There was also an immediate problem with the building's security. Staff reportedly told officers that the stairwell had been checked the previous evening and that nothing unusual had been noticed. The employee who made the discovery struggled to believe that anyone could have walked through the area without detecting the smell. Even if the woman remained difficult to see beneath the steps, the conditions around the stairwell should have drawn attention. Investigators therefore faced two separate questions. Who was the woman beneath the stairs? And how had she remained undiscovered inside a public parking structure for several days? The first useful answer was still attached to her wrist. Officers found a band from an Alley Cat music event. The wristband gave investigators a place and a date from which to begin working backward. Alley Cat had hosted an event inside the underground Atlanta complex on Saturday, August 26th. The garage was close enough to the venue for someone leaving the event to reach it on foot, and only 4 days had passed since that night. Police could now compare the unidentified woman with people recently reported missing after attending the event. That process led them to Mitchel Dang. The woman beneath the staircase was the 25-year-old whose family had spent the previous days trying to understand why she had not returned home. The identification explained the wristband, but it created another problem. Mitchell's vehicle was not parked inside the garage where she had been found. She had no obvious reason to enter that structure while attempting to return to her own car. Her phone, keys, and wallet were also missing. This changed the direction of the investigation. Detectives were no longer looking only at what had happened beneath the staircase. They needed to establish how Mitchell had traveled from the music event to a garage she had not used, who had accompanied her, and why she had never been seen leaving. Downtown Atlanta contained cameras operated by venues, businesses, the parking garage, and the city's transport network. Together, those recordings offered a way to rebuild the missing hours after Mitchell left the dance floor. The first images showed that she had not been alone. A stranger had approached her outside the venue and offered to help. The surveillance footage allowed detectives to follow Mitchell beyond the doors of the venue and into the streets surrounding underground Atlanta. She appeared to be unsteady and had become separated from the people she had been with earlier in the night. As Mitchell moved through the area, a man approached her and offered assistance. She did not immediately accept. According to the reconstructed sequence, Mitchell told him to get away from her and continued walking. The man did not leave. He followed Mitchell, continued speaking to her, and repeatedly presented himself as someone trying to help. Mitchell was having difficulty locating her vehicle, and after initially rejecting him, she eventually allowed the stranger to assist with the search. That decision placed him in control of the situation. He came into possession of Mitchell's keys and phone while walking beside her. What appeared from a distance to be an ordinary act of assistance gave him access to the two things she needed to find her vehicle, contact her family, or call for help. The footage also established that Mitchell had originally been moving in the direction of Atlanta's MARTA transport system. At some point after the stranger joined her, that route changed. Instead of continuing toward public transportation or reaching the location where her car had actually been left, Mitchell was guided toward the parking structure on Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. The garage was not a random detail discovered after the event. Cameras recorded Mitchell and the man approaching it together. They entered the stairwell. Mitchell, though, was never recorded leaving. The stranger eventually emerged alone and continued away from the building. At that stage, the footage could not show investigators exactly what had happened beyond the stairwell door, but it established a narrow period during which Mitchell vanished from public view. It also captured something unexpected. After leaving, the man turned around and returned to the garage. He entered the area again, remained there briefly, and then departed for a second time. Investigators now knew that the stranger had not simply accompanied Mitchell to the building and continued on his way. He had entered the stairwell with her, left without her, and then made a deliberate journey back. Whatever had happened beneath the stairs, the man appeared to believe that something important remained there. The cameras could not explain what he had gone back to recover. They could, however, continue following him. Detectives began assembling recordings from across downtown Atlanta. A single camera could show only one fragment of the journey, but footage from the garage, nearby streets, and the MARTA system allowed investigators to connect the stranger's movements after he left Mitchell. The man traveled away from the area using public transportation. Cameras provided clearer views of his face, clothing, hairstyle, physical build, and the way he walked. Mitchell's missing property created an additional trail. Her credit card was used after her disappearance, while her damaged phone and clothing were discarded separately. The activity surrounding those belongings supported the conclusion that the man seen leaving the stairwell had not merely witnessed Mitchell's disappearance. He had actually left with her property, meaning that somehow he obtained it from her. Investigators eventually obtained images clear enough to show to someone who knew the man personally, and his grandmother recognized him. She identified the person in the recordings from his body shape, hairstyle, and distinctive walk. Although she reportedly had not seen him for several years, she said the man captured by the cameras was her grandson, and that man's name was Ja'keivious Mitchel Arnold. The identification gave detectives a suspect, but it was not the only evidence connecting Arnold to the garage. The individual who had first appeared to be a stranger offering assistance could now be traced across the city, but police still needed to find him. On September 22nd, almost 4 weeks after Mitchell was discovered, that search led officers to an animal services facility outside Atlanta.
First or second? Real.
On the ground.
On the ground now, mother. Get on the ground. On the ground. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back. You understand me?
Arnold was found at the DeKalb County Animal Services building in Chamblee, where he had been assigned through a temporary employment agency. His girlfriend also worked at the facility. Officers entered a staff area and ordered Arnold to the ground. The arrest itself ended without a prolonged struggle, but his behavior changed almost immediately once he was restrained. Arnold began apologizing. He described himself as a horrible person and said he needed to be imprisoned.
Sir, forgive me. I'm sorry. It was an accident, sir. Sir, can you look at me, sir? I wasn't trying to. I should have just took myself in, sir. I'm sorry. I really am. Thank you for getting me.
At one point, he told an officer that he needed to go away for a long time. Those remarks were not a complete confession, and they did not explain what had happened to Mitchell. They were significant because Arnold appeared to understand that the officers had arrived in connection with something far more serious than a routine arrest. Before being taken away, he repeatedly asked for an opportunity to speak with his girlfriend.
Thank you. Could I just say one thing? What do you want? Just to my girlfriend, please. Just one thing. Just one thing, sir.
Can you take that? Can you follow him down? I'm going to do some stuff up here.
Yeah. Could I?
Do you have a locker in here?
Yes, I do.
Where's your locker at?
It's K's number. It's down below. It's right by the break room.
Okay. Just give us a second. We'll talk to you, okay?
Can I say one thing to my girlfriend?
Officers instead secured him inside a police vehicle and transported him to the Fulton County Jail. Arnold initially faced charges including murder, kidnapping, and robbery. Additional charges followed as investigators examined the stairwell, Mitchell's missing property, and the evidence collected from her body. What they still needed was an explanation, and Arnold, he gave them one. Arnold said he first encountered Mitchell near the 5 Points MARTA station. He acknowledged that she appeared unsteady and that she initially rejected his offer of help. Mitchell told him to leave her alone. Arnold admitted that he continued following her and repeatedly offered to help locate her vehicle until she eventually accepted. He took possession of her phone and keys while presenting himself as someone guiding her to safety. According to Arnold's account, they entered the parking garage and moved into the stairwell. Once they were away from the street and outside the view of most cameras, he forced Mitchell beneath the stairs, restrained her and applied pressure to her neck. He also admitted to seriously violating her. When Mitchell eventually regained consciousness, Arnold applied the pressure again until her time on this earth ended. He then attempted to remove evidence. Arnold said he took Mitchell's clothing because he understood that it could contain DNA. He placed the clothing into a bag, damaged her phone, and later discarded the items at separate locations in downtown Atlanta. Mitchell was pushed farther beneath the staircase. Newspaper was placed over part of her head, reducing the chance that someone passing through the stairwell would immediately notice her. Arnold then left the garage. A short time later, he realized that his sunglasses were missing. He believed he had left them beneath the stairs. Arnold returned to the garage, moved Mitchell's body, recovered the sunglasses and concealed her more deeply before leaving for a second time. That admission explained one of the most important unexplained movements in the surveillance footage. Detectives had already watched the man leave the garage and then return. Arnold had now provided a reason for that journey. He also described details that police had not released publicly, including the newspaper and the way Mitchell had been positioned beneath the staircase. The evidence was no longer limited to the fact that Arnold had been the last person seen with Mitchell. His own account matched actions captured on camera and features of the scene that only investigators and the person responsible were expected to know. Then Arnold told detectives that Mitchell was not the first woman he had approached in this way. Just a quick one. For some reason, my videos are normally seen by just 1 to 2% of my subscribers. I actually don't know why. Regardless of the reasons, it's making it extremely challenging to keep this show on the road. And I promise I don't like to do this. It makes me feel like Oliver Twist or something. But please do consider becoming a channel member. There are currently 343 of you, and I'm aiming for the crazy goal of 1,000 by the end of 2026. You get things like early access to videos, our behind-the-scenes podcast, and of course my eternal gratitude. Thank you, and I love you all. Now, back to the video. Arnold claimed that he had previously approached 2 other women in a similar way. Both were alone at night, and in both accounts he began by offering help before attempting to move them away from the public view. One woman reportedly escaped after using mace. Arnold claimed that he left another woman in a wooded area while she was still breathing, although investigators had not identified her or confirmed what happened. DeKalb County Police were asked to determine whether his statements matched earlier reports. The claims did not establish a confirmed number of additional victims. They did, however, suggest that the method used against Mitchell may not have begun that night. Mitchell's family created a Buddhist shrine in her honor and kept it in place for 49 days. At night, her parents and sisters slept together in the family room because separating made the emptiness harder to endure. They also questioned how Mitchell could be attacked and concealed for days inside a public garage, surrounded by venues, transport links, and the county courthouse. By sharing her story, they hoped improved security might prevent another family experiencing the same loss. Arnold ultimately pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to life in prison in March 2026. Thank you so much for watching. I'm uploading daily true crime and dark content here on this channel, so make sure that you're subscribed, hit like on the video, and also drop a comment so you get shown more of my stuff.
Okay, bye.